Hey friends, goals, 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 right? It's the new year. That's all we're hearing. That's what we're talking about. We're excited about starting fresh, starting new, and getting things done. I get it. I love goal setting. I love it. I love dreaming and thinking of ways to improve myself and things that I should get rid of and just like what new life could look like different than what I currently have, right? I love goal setting. I really do. But let me tell you, as someone who has done it, trying to do everything at one time will crush you. And like I said, I've done it, and it will steal your joy. It'll steal your peace. It'll make you someone you don't want to be because you're trying to do all of these things and attain something that you set up for yourself to be better. But now all of a sudden, it's worse, right? So you can't do it all, my friend. You cannot do it all. And that is what I want to tell you as you're setting up new goals, as you're setting up new things for this year, for 2025 or whatever year you're watching this in. You can't do everything at the same time. Now, I'm a firm believer that we should not be focusing on just on one area of our life and ignoring all of the other ones, right? There are 7 areas of your life that you should be setting goals. And I heard about this first from Dave Ramsey, but he didn't come up with that. But if you focus too much on one of them, then basically it's like a flat tire, is the way that they explained it. So you're the wheel of life, and then each area is a spoke, right? We're not going to get into all of the areas of life. That's not what this is about. But you do need to be working on several or on different areas of your life as you move forward, right? You don't always want to be just focusing on your business, because if you do, then your family will suffer. And we don't want that, right? And if you're always focusing on your family, then your business will never get off the ground, and then your friendships will suffer. And maybe you'll never read a book again, and you'll be burnt out by doing more and more and more just for your family, right? So we want to make sure that we're balanced when we're making goals, but I'm here to tell you that you do not have to work on them all at the same time. Every goal that you have, my friend, is not for right now. And we're going to take we're going to walk through how to set up goals for that you can achieve right now. We got 3 steps to figure out if the goals that you're setting at this moment are exactly what you need to be doing right now and how to actually achieve them. That is what this episode is about. It is about stopping setting all the goals. You don't need to do all of them at the same time. Plus, you don't have to just start them in January, right? Say you set a goal right now and you achieve it. Well, praise the Lord. Good job. That's awesome. And it only takes you till March to do it. So, what do you do after that? You set new goals, my friend. We never arrive. We never arrive. We're always getting better. We're always learning and growing in the grace of God and learning new things. Building relationships better, being smarter by reading more books, learning new skills by watching YouTube videos and trying it out. There is such an abundance in this life. We never arrive. And so you are always moving forward, but you can't do everything at the same time. So that is exactly what this is all about, right? And it's true for everyone. You can't really do everything at the same time. It's very hard, no matter what season of life you're in, but especially for us. We are moms with young kids, right? Yeah, little people that are depending on you. Do not stress yourself out by trying to literally do everything. It just won't work out. So let's walk through this 3-step process to be able to set attainable goals for you in this season of life, right? And I have a little bonus at the very end, so stick around and don't leave, because this will help you attain these goals, right? So we want to stretch ourselves 100%. Definitely want to stretch, want to be learning, but we don't want to break. And we don't want to be overwhelmed to the point that you do nothing at all. So let's start. Okay. The first step is to dream. This is my favorite part. I love dreaming. I like all the steps actually, but I maybe not the follow through. That's not my strongest suit, but I've put in things in place to make sure I do that. Anywho, so the dreaming part, I love the dreaming part. Like what life would look like if I did XYZ, right? Like, it's probably very easy for you to come up with what you want to do. Like, what is that goal that you have, right? Do you want to run a marathon? Do you want to stop watching so much television? Are you trying to read one book a month? Are you trying to, I don't know, any of the things, learn how to bake sourdough or cookies or, grow a garden, or those are all things that I do. So, but your goals could be totally different, right? So, whatever those are. Now, I want you to think of these goals. Like, what are they? And I want you to think like very specifically about what you want to do. And after you have what you want to do, I want you to dig into that a little bit deeper. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to run a marathon? What would that make you feel? How would that help you? How would that help your family? Like, what is it? I ran a marathon once, and I've only done it once, and I keep telling myself I'm going to do another one. And I do want to do another one, and I think I will at some point. But what I really want in this point in my life, and I keep saying I want to run a marathon, is I just want to be healthy. I want to not lose that ability to run that I worked so hard on. I want to be healthy and strong and be able to run around with my son without being tired, right? That's the why of what I want to run a marathon. The other whys of why you want to run a marathon is because it's freaking cool, man, to say that you did it. It's neat. I like it. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything profound, but you do want to know why you want to do the things that you want to do. Why is it that you want to watch less TV? Because it's a good idea is not enough. One, it won't help you propel yourself forward, but we're also trying to dig into the why to see if what your goal is in the next step was we evaluate it and rework it. Because if you have the why, but the season of your life right now is not conducive for that particular goal, then maybe, not maybe, then you can take that goal, the reason why behind the goal, and figure out how to do something different for that goal. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so right now we're dreaming. We're thinking about things we want to get done, things we want to change in our life, things we want to add, things we want to take away, like whatever that looks like. And we are digging deeper to figure out what the driving force is it. Why do you want your kids to stop watching so much TV? Or maybe yourself, maybe you want to stop watching TV. And because I know it's good for me is not enough. Keep going. Keep going, girl. Like, is it because you know you're a nicer person when you're not watching TV? I know that if I have a podcast on or the television on or something happening in the background and my son is there, I get irritated because he's distracting me from this junk that is not actually important at that moment, right? And so I want to not do those things when he's around because I know that I'm less it's not it's harder for me to be overwhelmed when there's less going on around me, right? So I want to be present with him and in a good headspace. So that's why I want to not listen to podcasts when he's awake and with me and I'm supposed to be spending time with him. Right? And so that is my why. That's more than just, I know it's good for me, right? Do you know that you're a nicer person when you're not watching television? Do you know that you get more things done around your house when you're not watching television? So, like the deep why, right? Why do you want to start baking sourdough bread? Because you've read that it's better for you and that it's a cool new skill that you can, it's cheap and it takes time. And so you will be working through the process of what that looks like, right? So, like, it's healthier for you and it's a skill that you can bring back and it's very frugal, right? Because once you have a sourdough starter, you don't need a whole lot to bake bread, right? Flour and water, salt. So you should put salt in there. But that's basically it to make some artisan bread. So there's just these things that are underneath your goals. That is what we want to do first, right? Dream, wonder what those things are, look hard at yourself, figure out what is it be but like underneath your goals that it's really important, right? Do you want to go for a walk every day with your spouse? After he gets home from work or after, you guys are done with whatever it is that you do. Um, like, that's great, but it's not because you wanna go walking. I mean, maybe it is, but it's probably because you wanna connect with them without the distractions of electronics, right? But maybe walking is not for you guys right now. Alright, moving on. Okay, so that there's all those examples. And so the second one is evaluate and rework, right? So we wanna look at where we are, right? You know what you can do, right? You know what your life entails. You know what your kids need. You know what your business needs. You know how much time, or you can figure out how much time you have available for new things. Because the thing is, you can't just keep adding stuff without something either suffering or getting ditched. Like something will fall through the cracks, or you will um it'll just suffer over there, right? I do believe that you can expand your capacity as you move forward, but it doesn't just happen. You have to work at that, right? So, what you need to be doing is evaluating the season of life that you're in. And this is not to make excuses. We're not making excuses, it's looking at a realistic place that you're in. You want to be honest with yourself, stretch yourself, because if the goal was easy to get to, you would have already done it, right? So the goal that you've set is probably not that easy. We don't want to set it so far in it, out of reach so we can't get it. That's super discouraging. But it does need to stretch you. And you need to be thinking about where you are, what you can actually give to it. And if that goal that you set, let's use the marathon um, example as continue with that example, right? So you want to run a marathon. And I say that probably once a year that I want to run a marathon. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. Let's do this thing. So my husband, when I did it before, we didn't have kids. We both worked full time, but then afterward, we didn't have a lot going on. We had like Bible study in church, but not a ton else. And so he would get on the bike and I would run. That's what we did. And we did it a lot because running a marathon takes a lot of time. But at this moment in my life, I can't run a marathon. I mean, I guess I could if I really, really, really wanted to give up some other stuff and do it. But my underlying reason of wanting to do it that we talked about earlier in the dream section was because I wanted to stay healthy. Didn't want to lose my ability to run because I worked hard on that. And I started running when I was like 15, 14. I don't know. So that's over half of my life. I'm 34. So it's been a bit, and so I don't wanna lose that ability, and that's one of the big reasons that I want to run a marathon, why I keep saying I wanna run a marathon, other than the cool factor, right? You may not think it's cool, I think it's cool. But in that example, I don't wanna lose my ability to run. I wanna stay healthy, I wanna stay active, and I wanna be able to just, like, play with my son, right? And I didn't add this in there earlier, but this is true. I want my kids, just this my son, to see me being active and healthy and want to emulate those things, right? So that's important to me too. The legacy of being active and being healthy. I want him to have that as well. Now, as I dug into that why in the dream section and I move into the evaluate section and I say, right now in this season, can I dedicate 3 days a week to running regular like runs and 1 day a week to doing long runs that will just continually get longer until they are taking several hours on a Saturday or a Sunday. Now, if I wanted to rework my life, I could probably do it, sure, but I would have to change a lot of stuff. And I'm not willing, and this is what you need to be looking at whenever you're deciding if your goal is the one that you need to keep. I'm not willing to change around a bunch of stuff in my life to reach this one goal. And that's okay. If you decide that you're not willing to change a bunch of other things, like if your goal is really big like that, like running a marathon, to be able to accommodate that goal, then you need to step back and say, okay, how can I reach the whys that were underneath that goal by and still achieve those whys without doing that specific thing. And so that is where we're evaluating and reworking. So in the marathon example, Instead of running a marathon, I could just make sure that I go to the gym or work out 3 days a week and have one of them be running, at least one of them be running, because I don't want to lose my ability to run. Right? So I know I can fit that in. I've been doing it for a while, so I know where it fits. But maybe for you, right, you can't get to the gym. Maybe that's just not a possibility. Where I live, my gym has a childcare, and so I can take my son with me. And so that's super convenient for me. And so I know I can make that happen. It works in the season of life that I'm in. But let's say you don't have that and you don't have the support and you don't have help or whatever it is in your season, right? What else could you do? Maybe if you're just trying to be healthy and stay active and leave that legacy for your children to stay healthy and active, why don't you just decide to do 2 or 3 workouts at home every week? Maybe you do a Pilates wall challenge. Those are all over the internet, right? Or whatever it looks like in this season. And do not beat yourself up because you couldn't hit that really big lofty goal. Maybe you will one day, but today may not be that day. When you have littles in your life looks different. You can't do everything that you used to do, and there'll be a time where you can do more than you can right now. That's okay. That's good because you're putting your emotional energy and physical energy into the little people that God has blessed you with. That's what we want. So as you're evaluating and reworking your goals, being um being realistic with yourself, stretching yourself, not making excuses. You still want to change those things because you know the why now, right? Like the example earlier when you were talking about going on a walk with your husband or your spouse every day after he gets home from work. Maybe that's not realistic. Maybe every day is a lot for you guys because you have things to do. You got to cook dinner and feed the cows. I don't know if you have cows, but whatever it is that you do, got homework and things going on and piano lessons and the things that happen whenever you have little people or you just know people and you have a busy life. Things happen. But what if you decide to do it twice a week? Does that still fulfill the why, which is connecting with your spouse without the distractions of electronics? Sure does. Maybe it's just sitting down at the dinner table instead. Because your why wasn't necessarily working out, your why was connection. So maybe you guys just eat dinner with no electronics, no TV, no phones, no nothing. You can just rework your dream, your goal into the season that you are in because you know the underlying reason. That underlying reason will help you so much. Don't skip that first step, right? Okay, so now you have done the dreaming. You set a goal, you evaluate it and rework your goal if you needed to, right? We're stretching, we're not making excuses, we're moving forward. Now the next thing is to create a plan. Now you need to make a plan because the thing is, if you just wish that it happens, it's very unlikely that it's going to happen because that's just not how things happen. We go into our habits that we've always been in, and without intentionality, nothing gets done, right? So I want you to break that dream down into steps. Break it down and then put it on the calendar or talk, not or, and talk to whoever it has to deal with it with, right? So if we're talking about that marathon, and you've decided, okay, marathon's not for me. I can't do this marathon, but I am going to go to the gym 3 days a week, right? Now look at your calendar. Where will that fit? Can you do it in the evening? Can you do it in the morning? Like pick some times, put them on your calendar. Tell anybody in your life that it affects. Tell your spouse, tell a friend that's going to keep you accountable. What are what can you do to make sure that that actually happens? Because lots of goals get set and lots of goals get put in the trash can, right? So we don't want your goals and your dreams to wind up on the pile of other stuff that we didn't do, right? I got a big old pile of things that I didn't do. It's because one, I didn't actually know why I was doing it or it wasn't really important, or I just didn't put any actual effort and intentionality into it. And we don't want that because we already went through all the reasons why we're doing it. We know we want to do this. We know it's good for us. We know it's good for our family. So we have to create that plan, break it down into steps, put it on your calendar, tell your friend, tell your spouse, tell somebody who can hold you accountable, Tell the people that it'll affect. So if you're gonna start going to the gym 3 days a week, right? So in my actual life, this is what we do. My husband and I meet at the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening, and we work out together with a friend. And then on Wednesdays, I go during the day. I go to a class during the day. And so I had to talk to my spouse about the Tuesdays and Thursdays that we do, right? So he knows, I know, we go to the gym on Tuesday night. We go to the gym on Thursday night. Like he doesn't come home, he just meets us right there. And so that works out well for us. And so, who do you have to talk to make sure that those things can happen? And if they affect them, that they can be on the same page as you. Let's say you want to be spending, more time on your business, right? Because because you are building this thing and the people that you're serving are important to you and you know that God has called you to it, right? And so you want to spend 3 extra hours a month, not a month, a week on it. But you don't really know where to fit it, and then you and your spouse, you look at your schedule and you decide like, "Okay, on Wednesday and Thursday night, I'm gonna work for an hour and a half after the kids go to bed." And that will be the plan. That's the plan. You need a measurable part, like an actual like step that you can say, yes, I am doing it, or no, I'm not doing it, because wishing does not get it there, my friend. So create measurable steps. And the measurable step might just be put it on your calendar and freaking do it, my friend. And telling somebody, having someone to hold you accountable is super, super, super helpful. Now, those are the 3 steps, right? So we're going to dream, we're going to decide what that thing is, we're going to set a goal, we're going to find out the real reason we want to set that goal, the underlying reason, the why, the driving factor. We're going to evaluate and rework with the season that we're in. If we have to rework that goal, we're going to change it to something else that is still gets us to that why, the driving factor, the really important part. And then we are going to create a plan. And with that driving factor in mind, because you're not just doing it because it's a good idea, you're doing it because you found the reason why, the underlying thing that is going to change your family and change your life. You've already found that, so you know, "I can do this, and this is why I'm doing it." Because hard things, no one wants to do hard things just for fun, unless you wanna run a marathon, I guess. But people like it. But they do it because it's good for them and because they have a good reason to do it. So find your good reason, that driving force, make a plan, tell a friend, tell the people around you that it's gonna affect, and break that dream into steps, put it on your calendar, make it happen. Make it happen, right? So, okay, so I told you there is a last thing to this. There's a bonus, right? Like those are the 3 steps. You can do it with those 3 steps, but this is the one that will make it, that will help. Let me tell you, it will just help you. I need you to switch your mindset and let go of perfectionism. I read this book by John Acuff. It is called Finish. Super good. Um, and he talks about the enemy of done is perfection. Now, we want to be moving towards excellence. Like we do everything we do unto the Lord and we serve him well by cooking meals and going on walks with our husbands and going to the gym and working on our businesses and changing diapers. We serve the Lord as we do those things because we do them with excellence and we do them with like a joyful heart. We try, right? I try, you try, we try. And we lean on the Lord to be able to do those things with a joyful heart. But if you are always looking for perfection from yourself and for others, you will never finish anything. You just won't, because you'll feel like, because we all fail, right? We all miss a day at the gym or forget to feed our sourdough starter and now it's dead. It's not that easy to kill it, but when you're first starting, it's a lot. It could be. And so you do that. You miss a time you said you were going to work on your business because you didn't want to, right? Sometimes we just have feelings where we don't want to do things. And I'm not saying to do that, but if you do that, don't let go forever. It's not dead forever. Now you didn't do your 1 day Pilates challenge. Now you can't do the other 29. Like that's not the case, my friend. You have to let go of perfection. It's not going to serve you. It's not going to help you. Strive for excellence and just let perfection go. And I know that's really easy to say, it's hard shift to make, but I know you can do it. And once you do it, you will see the freedom that comes from not having to be perfect all the time. It's okay if you're not perfect because perfectionism, it's not even real. It's just an idea that we strive towards that just kills our goals, kills our plans, kills all of our creativity and everything that we want to accomplish. So, my friend, let go of perfectionism. All right, that is everything, okay? I hope you had a great time. I hope that you were able to glean stuff from this and that you will set the best goals for 2025, but only the right ones, not all of them. Don't be getting crazy setting everything, okay? Set a couple, set one if that's all you can handle emotionally, physically, just time wise at this moment, and move forward because we're always moving forward towards excellence. And that's just it. That's it. Okay, my friends, I will talk to you later.